Yo ho ho, what's going on, guys? Good evening. How the heck are you, anyways? How the heck are you, anyways? We got quite a bit to get into, guys. I got something very interesting that I want to show you guys from the past cycle. It's going to be very interesting. So, we're going to have a look at the Bitcoin chart shortly here over on TradingView. For now, we'll pop up the Binance chart and have a looky loo. We're sitting on the weekly time frame. Let's go over to the daily. Bitcoin seems to be trying to form a little bit of a bull flag here, huh? Something like that. Something like that. A little bull pennant action going on. Maybe we break to the upside. Can we stay inside of here for our closes? Very nice. Either way, guys, very, very nice. All right, let's get into the chat just a little bit. First super chat of the stream. Ken, what's up, man? Hey, Robin, crypto fam, can only afford $5. Been busy shopping for cookies. Well, hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? Haha, see what I did there? Dad jokes for the win, baby. Dad jokes for the win. I dig it, man. I dig it. All right, what else do we have? Let's get into the chat a little bit. Rodney says, I bought some more Quant. Nice. Quant is $79. Anytime you can get Quant under $100 sounds like a good deal to me. Not financial advice, guys. Hit Gary Daly. Hit those likes, he says. Absolutely. Oh, house. No likes, no bull run. Good luck to all of us. Let's go, guys. Yes. If you do not, it's scientifically proven. If you do not hit the like button, the bull run will not come, right? Simply will run out of fuel. G-Dog in the house. What's going on, my guy? Good to see you. Rise above. Let's go, Robin. Patreon fans. Good to see you, man. Message Patreon waiting for a response. Took the money, but some people find that if they uninstall the app and then reinstall it, a lot of times that works. Otherwise, you just gotta wait for support. Yeah, I wish I had control over the technical aspects of it, but I don't. Sometimes it just glitches like that. Well, want to buy some Zebec, but she's pamping, so I'll wait. Good idea. Good idea. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe on the way in. We got 101 people watching. We got 32 likes, guys. It's like running up and just sacking me, right? Hit the like button. Is it better to hold USDC or USDT at the moment than wait for Bitcoin to bottom out in DC? Well, I look at it like this. For shorter to medium term stuff, I hold Tether because Tether has a pairing with almost everything, right? However, for my long-term holds and stable coins, I use Circle's USDC because it does seem to be the stable coin adopted by the U.S. administration. So long-term storage, Circle's USDC. Short-term or medium-term to buy and sell and stuff, Tether, right? That's me. Salute Robin chats. Nice, nice, nice. Sammy, make a huge step in filling my short-term Zebec bag today. Nice. Now that my long-term bag is topped off, I can really feel comfortable taking profits this cycle. There you go, man. A man with a plan. I dig it. H. Barbarina in the house. What's going on, my guy? Dave, what's up, man? What it is, my man? What it is. Absolutely. There she is, the one and only, the Gamma Goddess in the house. She says, good evening and happy Friday, Rob and Crypto Fam. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's continue to hold and get this money. Guys, it is open mic Friday night over on the Patreon, so I'm not going to keep you too long today. Make sure you're over there. You don't want to miss the open mic because I just might pop in, right? We just might see Lloyd Christmas drop into the chat. Myrdad, what's up, buddy? What do you think about Cookie's last post on X? I talked about that this morning. I need to do a little bit more of a deeper dive into exactly what's going on. But from my understanding, X has kind of destroyed the whole info AI. So I'll have to check it out. I have to do a deeper dive. Crypto is the future, says, good evening, Rob. I caught a decent amount of XCN recent pump. Took profits and rotated into Zebec, now up 15%. Would you recommend a 50-50 split or between the two, or would you personally favor one? I mean, hypothetically, a 50-50 split's not a bad idea because the staking on Onyx Coin is just fantastic. It's a fantastic opportunity to gain passive income, right? So, Ben, hey Rob, bought more XPL and Knight today. Nice. There you go. There you go, man. Knight's going to have an explosion, in my opinion. Restful Mind, we got Mewtwo in the house dropping some cheddar on us. Hey Rob, when laughing to the bank. Thank you for everything. Hey, no problem, man. Absolutely. I got you. I got you. Beast mode in the house. Tequila tonight. Just snuff a rep and engines. It's going to be a wild one for beast mode tonight. Nice. I dig it, my friend. I dig it. Let's go crypto from Big C in the house. Nice. Can you do TA on Zebec? Sure, I could do that. I could do that. What do I have up? Didn't I do TA on Zebec this morning? Was that this morning? Yeah, no, that was last night. Yesterday I did TA on Zebec because we were looking at it on the live stream with Rue and Max. If you remember a few days ago, guys, I told you we were in a bull flag here, right? I don't know if you remember that or not. And we've broken out of the bull flag on Zebec here. Boom, boom, boom. Our target on it is likely going to be somewhere around, where would it finish? It's got a little bit higher to go, a little bit higher, probably somewhere around 203.363, 203.65, something like that. 203.64, yeah, somewhere around there. That's going to be your level of resistance most likely. As you can see, it was support back here, back here, back here, back here, resistance back here. So it is a significant level you're looking at on the breakout. See? Resistance, resistance, support, support. All support through here, support, support, resistance. Yeah. So you're probably going to meet some static right there. You're probably going to meet some resistance. Might be a short opportunity on Zebec there. So, yeah. I hit the likes, but don't call me paranoid again. I wasn't calling you paranoid, Ben. Come on. Come on, brother. Okay, so I got something very interesting for you guys. I want to show you something that happened in the 2021-2022 cycle when it comes to Bitcoin. So let's go have a gander. And this is why I'm telling you guys that this is going to be a dangerous time coming into the right shoulder, okay? I've been warning you guys for a while now that we're going to be putting in a right shoulder, probably coming up to the 50-week moving average, rejecting off of it, right? And then coming back down and working our way down towards the 200-week moving average. Now, I want to show you something here, okay? And this is exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened in 2022, okay? So as you see, we hit our high back here in 2021, November, right? And then we dropped, we collapsed, we were down here. This is the, by the way, guys, this is the weekly time frame, not the daily, the weekly time frame, okay? We chopped here for, in this little area here for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, from like December 6th until March 20th, right? That's 21st. That's a long time. December, January, February, right? Three and a half months, okay? But if you'll notice right here, this blue line is the 50-week moving average, right? That's what that blue line is. We lost it in December, as you can see, right? And we collapsed down. Now, I want to show you some interesting things here, so I need you to pay attention, okay? So we lost the 50-week, and from the high to the low, from the 50-week moving average, right? From the high to the low, Bitcoin dropped about 28% from the 50-week moving average when we lost it to its local bottom, okay? Before finding a bottom and then rebounding back up, okay? Now, let's fast forward over here to where we are. Interesting little tidbit here. 28%, right? We lost the 50-week right here to the bottom, to the low on the wick. 21.5%, almost the same dump that we saw in 2022, right? That's the first interesting little tidbit. Okay, let's go back in time again. So what happened? We dropped and we stayed below for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks. 12 weeks we stayed below the 50-week here. Okay, let's go back. What are we doing here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, and look how close we are. So maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 more weeks. So maybe a month, and within the month, right? If we come back up to the 50-week again, that'd be pretty close in time frames, right? Let's go back in time again. Now, what happened right here? We ran back up. We had 2 massive green weeks in a row. We ran back up to the 50-week moving average. Now, this is important, so I need you to pay attention so that you do not misquote me later, okay? We ran back up to the 50-week in March, okay? We closed that weekly candle above the 50-week. Then, our next weekly, let me zoom in. I'll try to zoom in as close as I can for you guys here, okay? Then what happened? So we broke above. And then we dropped back below the 50-week the next week, but we ended up getting bought back up and closing this candle above the 50-week moving average as well. So we closed 2 weekly candles above the 50-week moving average, right? That's back in March of 2022, March 21st and March 28th, those 2 weeks. So here's the thing. Immediately after that, though, look what happened. What happened was Bitcoin collapsed all the way down to the previous cycle high, which is just happens to coincide with what? What's this yellow line right here? Most of you guys know what it is. It's the 200-week moving average, right? We dropped down to it, just a little below it, and we hit the previous cycle high back here, right? 2017 cycle high. Come back, we hit it. We hit the 200 week, we hit the previous cycle high, and we stayed down there. How long did we stay below the 200 week moving average? For 39 weeks. 39 weeks below, right? Below the 200-week moving average, or around the 200-week moving average, before we started working our way back up again, okay? So you might be sitting there saying, Rob, why are you telling me all this, okay? Because the same thing is playing out right now. And when we were in this little hope rally right here, we worked our way back up. You had a lot of content creators telling you that we were going to put in new all-time highs, that this was not the top, don't sell your crypto, buy everything. That's what they were telling you, right? What ended up happening was a complete collapse down to the 200-week immediately after, right? So, if we fast forward, look what we're doing. We even have the head and shoulders pattern playing out the same. I'm going to come back up to the 200, or to the 50-day here, around $101,391 right now. Wait, we're going to spend the next 2 to 4 weeks, in my opinion, coming back up to the 50-week moving average, and then maybe we close 1 or 2 candles, maybe even 3 candles above it, but barely, just like I showed you in 2021. And then what's going to happen, you guys, this is my opinion, remember, then we are going to collapse down here to either the previous cycle high right here at 69K, or the 200-week moving average, which likely will work its way up somewhere between 60,000 and 69,000, right? Probably. Okay, so that's probably your range for your bottom of this cycle. Somewhere in there, you're going to come down, you're going to chop, probably for another 35 to 40 weeks, and then you're going to start to work your way back up to new highs again, right? So the reason that I'm telling you all of this is because there's a lot of confusion right now, guys, in the markets, right? A lot of confusion. So many people are saying it's different because of this, it's different because of that. They were saying the same thing in the last cycle. It was different for different reasons, right? Now, what I would say to you is you don't have to take what I say and think that it's going to be fact, because it's not fact, right? What I just showed you is history of the chart, what happened in the previous cycle, and what I think is going to happen moving forward, okay? In this cycle, it's playing out the exact same way, right? And if that is the case, be prepared. That's all I'm trying to get you to do, is be prepared. You know, when you get up to the 50 week and you're in green on stuff, not financial advice, but it might be a good idea to get profits and get the hell out of Dodge, right? Just my opinion, guys, not financial advice. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think it's going to play out the same way it did in 2022? Or am I wrong? And we're going to invalidate the head and shoulders pattern, and we're going to go into new all-time highs. Let me know what you guys think, right? There is, now listen, there is arguments to be made for new all-time highs and stuff like that. There is. I just don't think it's going to happen, right? So, but the arguments are valid, right? It's not about right and wrong. It's not about certainties. It's about probabilities, right? So let's get back into the chat. I want to know what you guys think about that. Hopefully you guys followed me through that explanation and it was good. Yes, I did. I talked about Cookie Dow this morning in the live stream. Carl, yep. Hippity Hop says the difference between now and 2022 is that QE ended and QT began in early 2022 and rate hikes started in March of 2022. Now QT ended and we're cutting rates. I like to think that'll make the opposite. Well, I mean, hey, like I said, that is an example right there of a perfectly valid argument that I could be wrong, right? You could be right, Hippity Hop. You could be right. I'm buying the dip when it happens. Yes, me too, man. I've been hearing around 69K too. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Previous cycle high. Awesome stuff, brother man. Great explanation, brother. Thank you. I'm glad you guys followed me through that. Great explanation. Thank you, guys. I will DCA when that happens. 100%. That's why over in the Patreon, we have been emphasizing DCAing into stable coins right now so that you have a lot of dry powder when we bottom out, right? You're prepared to start a fresh portfolio with me over in our Patreon community. I have a whole list right now of brand new, fantastic projects we're going to be diving into when we bottom out. I could not be more excited about starting a fresh portfolio as a community, right? I think you're dead nuts on that. I like it. Thank you, Rob. I like that explanation. Perfect. I second Hippity Hop. It's not the tequila. I promise we can talk BTC dominance. Can we talk big? Yeah, absolutely. Let's go look at Bitcoin dominance. BTCD. Yeah, see, same thing, Bitcoin dominance. I mean, this is just justifying the alts potentially running here when you've got a head and shoulders pattern playing out on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin dominance as well, right? So this tells me when we finally get this structural breakdown here and Bitcoin dominance drops below 58%, you're going to see the altcoins really start to run, in my opinion, right? Now, that doesn't mean Bitcoin's price is going to start to fall. I've talked about this before. Bitcoin's price doesn't necessarily go down because Bitcoin dominance is going down. In fact, all it means is that altcoins are moving faster than Bitcoin. That's all that means. Bitcoin still runs up as Bitcoin dominance falls. It just means altcoins are going up faster. And I think, as you can see on the head and shoulders pattern on the Bitcoin dominance chart, we are getting ready to see that Bitcoin dominance collapse, right? So Bitcoin has ran at 10K both to the upside, either downside in 1 or 2 days. When it gets there the last couple days, it can happen because we are just 5K away. That would mean that left shoulder would be immediate. Yes, exactly. The potential government shutdown can take us down to 69K fast. Yes, absolutely. It took us down last time, right? A few months ago. So, yeah. Let's go, crypto fan. Pump Zebec up. Let's go. 14, almost 15% up on the day for Zebec. Absolutely love it. All right, guys, let's dive into some of the news. Yeah, hopefully you guys like that explanation. Actually, let's get into a video over on Squawk Box that we have. I'm going to get this queued up for you guys. All right. So we have Chicago Fed Goose. Inflation could come back roaring if Fed independence goes away.
Of what's happening in Washington right now. The president or the administration has issued apparently criminal subpoenas to the Federal Reserve. People who support that action say, you know what? We want to get to the bottom of this. The Fed failed to respond to our queries, and this is an appropriate action. What do you think about that?
I'm not a lawyer. I know that there have been countries that had criminal investigations of their central banks, but those countries are Zimbabwe and Russia and Turkey and a bunch of places that you would not characterize as advanced economies. Anything that's infringing or attacking the independence of the central bank is a mess. You're going to get inflation come roaring back if you try to take away the independence of the central bank. And I told you, we're on a path back to 2% inflation. We have been for 5 years. We've made progress at some points. At some points, it's gone the wrong way. That's not been an easy road. To try to blow up Fed independence is kind of a festering stink bomb in the middle of that road back to 2%. I mean,
with all due respect, Mr.
we
President,
need to be really careful.
That's not exactly responsive. You're not arguing that the Fed should not be subject to inquiry when there's a question about the veracity of something the chair might have said in front of Congress.
I don't like I said, I'm not a lawyer. The only reason I'm not answering the legal question of should this or that be investigated, I don't know anything about that. I know that in Chair Powell's statement, I agree with his argument that if you're investigating as a pretext because you disagree with the rate decisions, that's a mess. We should not be in that place. We should be taking the job seriously of setting interest rates, which we do at the FOMC. As I've said many times, you become a sworn member of the Federal Reserve, you're out of the elections business. The minutes come out and the transcript will come out. You can see word for word what's on people's mind, and people take the job very seriously. It's all about the economic outlook and the economic conditions, and that's where it should be. The law gives the Fed the job to look at the stabilizing of prices, the maximizing employment, and that's it. That's the job. It doesn't say anything about make the stock market happy. Doesn't say anything about make the president happy. It's maximize employment and stabilize prices, and we must commit to that. If Austin, we don't, to me, that's a mess.
Austin, look, I don't think anybody is happy about lawfare or the idea of coercion or anything else. The question I would ask you, and it's a question we get a lot from viewers, so I have great sympathy for the question, which is, to the extent that you believe that the American taxpayer should be able to hold an institution, even like the Federal Reserve, accountable, not just for the decisions it makes, but for its spending in the context of a renovation and the like. What does that mean? Should the taxpayer be able to hold the Federal Reserve accountable? Should there be audits of how the money is spent and the like, or is this money genuinely considered separate? You don't consider this taxpayer money? I know this is different than about the policy of the Federal Reserve, and I recognize the clear view that there's a coercive effort underway, and I hear all that. I'm just to those who are asking this other question about accountability over spending.
Okay, those are two different questions.
Totally.
It's
and by
not
the way,
a. This is not a criminal inquiry about budget overruns.
I recognize you could do this through hearings and other things too.
I think there were more than 60 audits of the Fed Reserve System, including the 12 reserve banks. We all have audits. There are system-wide audits, and there are audits of the Board of Governors. There should be, but we should not, in my opinion, and the Federal Reserve Act set up so that there would not be direct coercive control of the budget of the Fed because of policy differences over interest rates. I think that would be really dangerous if that's what you're asking. We should have oversight of costs, and my understanding is they've outlined here are why there were cost overruns in this Washington, D.C. building. That's something totally different than if you're mad about what the interest rate path is, should you be able to go over and bully the FOMC. I think that's just a really disturbing concept.
Ways to deal with this that are separate from a criminal subpoena. Austin, thank you for joining us this morning.
They cut him off early because he wasn't answering any questions, right? He wasn't answering anything. He was just full of it. What do we have? I appreciate you explaining it very, very clearly and slowly. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I get misquoted all the time, so I wanted to make sure people understand what I'm saying. Hey, Train, I'm with you, 68 to 58K. Absolutely, man. Paul, good to see you, buddy. Paul, I got your question, Paul, about Cookie. I answered it in this morning's live stream. That's why I never DM'd you back about it. Watch this morning's live stream. I talk about Cookie. There. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. I'm trying to fight them off. Big Kev says, hey, Rob, with the M2 hitting all-time highs on January 5, what does that indicate? A bullish scenario. Well, here's the thing, Kev. Here's the thing. Let's go have a look at the M2. Okay. Now, Bitcoin and the M2, they decouple when Bitcoin tops. Okay. Every cycle. So, let's get the M2 back up. Global M2 money supply. All right. Right. They kind of decouple as we go back in time. So as you can see, let me just do this. You've got right here, you've got your peak on Bitcoin, right? I guess it kind of stayed coupled here on the M2. That's global M2 USD. Yeah. So yeah, but so they do kind of run up the same. But right here, what do you have? Right here, you have your top on Bitcoin. But yeah, the M2 just keeps going, right? It could be bullish, but usually they do tend to decouple. Why is it showing up down here, though, and not... should be popping up. I don't know why it's popping up down there right now. Anyway. But yeah, when it decouples, the M2 tends to continue on, and Bitcoin tends to not, right? They decouple when Bitcoin tops is what I'm getting at. So I don't know why it's showing up there and not up on my chart, but and that's why I follow you right there. You state your thoughts, but also accept others' opinions. You the man. Hey, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm not the end-all, know-all, man. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. You know what I'm saying? Brother, tonight's stream is the reason you, my dude, are beloved. People can speak their minds and disagree, but the Bulls are about to run it. Let's go. I hope so, man. Hell, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'll take that. I will take it. All right, let's get into another piece here, shall we? Carl says Levi Stadium, where the 49ers play, cost $1.3 billion to build. The Federal Reserve's Renovations cost 2.5 billion. Very interesting. Yeah, no kidding, eh? You literally play professional football in a cheaper building. That's insane. And the argument is also that they're using taxpayer money to build that building, right? Whereas the ballroom or whatever the hell it is they're building on the White House, that's personal, private donations money, right? So, all right, let's get into this piece here, shall we? Bitcoin ETF inflows cross 1.8 billion. Will Bitcoin respond with a rally to $100,000? Bitcoin rally above 97K was supported by surging inflows to the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And one analyst says the demand must continue for Bitcoin to break through $100,000 barrier. The U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF logged $1.8 billion in net inflows this week, marking the largest weekly intake since the first week of October 2025. The move comes as Bitcoin again tests resistance near $98,000, signaling renewed institutional interest. Despite the rebound, ETF positioning remains well below previous highs. The total net assets under management across U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs peaked at $164.5 billion in Q4 of 2025, but currently stands near $125 billion. That's not too bad. But represents a drawdown of roughly 24%, underscoring the recent inflows have only partially offset earlier outflows. Still trying to fight the hiccups. According to the Bitcoin Macro Intelligence newsletter, eCoin Metrics, short bursts of ETF inflows have repeatedly led to brief price bounces followed by fading momentum. Quote, Bitcoin doesn't need a few good days, it needs a few good weeks, the newsletter says, noting that cumulative ETF flows remain in a deep drawdown. A handful of positive sessions barely register against prolonged periods of selling until inflows cluster over multiple weeks. Rallies are more likely to stabilize the price than restart a durable uptrend. From a structural standpoint, spot ETF demand continues to outpace new Bitcoin supply. According to Bitwise, since U.S. Bitcoin ETFs launched in January of 2024, they have purchased about 710,777 Bitcoin, while the network has produced just 363,047 Bitcoin over the same time period. Bitcoin's price has risen about 94% since then, reflecting that imbalance. So I had this conversation with my wife earlier this evening, actually. I told her that in the next few years, I really do see a time where if you want to buy some Bitcoin Satoshis, you're going to have to put in like a pre-order and you're going to have to stand in line and wait for somebody to sell, because as it simply shows right here, guys, with a fixed supply of Bitcoin out there, okay, 710,777 Bitcoin were purchased, okay, but only 363,047 Bitcoin were produced in that same time frame. If this pace keeps up, the Bitcoin will be all bought up and there will be none left to buy. Okay? And I know you might be sitting there right now going, oh, that's never going to happen. Watch. At this pace and a fixed supply, I don't know how anyone can sit there and roll their eyes and say that that's never going to happen, right? More than twice the amount of Bitcoin that's being produced is being bought. Supply and demand says what, right? That's why I don't sell my Bitcoin, guys. That's why I do not sell my Bitcoin. All right, what else do we have? I gotta let you guys go soon. I know you got open mic Friday night tonight. About to pump. Yes, Blake, what's going on, man? Good to see you. All right, so Eleanor Tourette tweeted out, we asked Coinbase head of U.S. policy whether talks had resumed with the banking committee members after the company's surprise withdrawal from support of the market structure bill. Let's check it out.
Have you restarted talks with banking committee members at all? That, Ellie, we have been, I think, really mindful of recognizing that a lot happened over this week, and it was definitely a shock to the system. And we want to be respectful of the fact that blood, sweat, and tears has gone into this bill. And I can't underscore enough how impressed I've been with the Senate staff, with the senators themselves. They have met for hundreds of hours at the member level to discuss these details. And that, I think, is really important. So it was a shock to the system, and we want to make sure that we are at the table, that we're working through these details, that we're here to get this done. We always have been. We think that there is a clear path forward. And frankly, we think it's something that's on the table, and I don't think anybody's walking away. Democrat, Republican, industry, and I think even the industry is still absolutely united, even though we may have disagreed on tactics this week. I think we are absolutely united in most of these details, and certainly in getting this bill across the finish line and into law this spring. Well, let me be clear. Hopefully this winter. I don't want to say this spring. I want to say in like a month. So, but
All right.
that's after the drama this week.
That's not really an answer. She asked a yes or no question, and she didn't get either. But from what she said, I take that as a no, which is fine. It's only been a couple of days. What I would say is there's a lot that needs to be restructured in that bill, right? Namely, yield on stablecoins, right? See Story. Happy Friday, Rob and Crypto Future Fam. What's going on? I hope everyone's doing well. It's going to be wild. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's get back over to the Bitcoin chart here. See what's going down. Boom. All right, a little bit of a bullpen forming here. We'll see what happens. But guys, listen, it is Open Mic Friday night over on the Patreon. I know Ramona is about to drop the link over there for the live chats, the open mic on the Patreon. Get over there, guys. You don't want to miss it. The link will be in the chat momentarily. Get over to the Patreon. Book your one-on-one coaching calls today. Join our group coaching calls. Get all of our microcap gem coaching calls, our portfolio structures, and everything else, guys. Get over there today. Join me and thousands of other members. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you in the next one, guys. And also, it's me, Amadio, sitting on these hands. There you go. Okay, guys. Have a good one. God bless.